This could take a bit of a long route and hurt Lively's case down the road as well.
Blake Lively's attorney, Meryl Gavronsky, has quit the law firm that she's been working at since at least 2023.
Blake Lively's attorney just resigned after a major lawsuit twist revealed she was pulling uninvolved people into the chaos without a shred of evidence. Her own legal team branded her an egomaniac and walked away. The case is effectively finished. Her image is in ruins, and even the judges have had enough of her courtroom circus. Ever seen lawyers bail so quickly it looked like they were fleeing a fire? That's Blake's current legal meltdown. Her now former attorney, Mariel Jernke, officially withdrew from the disaster. And really, who could blame her? Defending Blake at this stage is like trying to justify a toddler's tantrum in the middle of a grocery store. You just know Jernke probably woke up, stared in the mirror, and thought, I'd rather deal with overdue parking fines than this madness. And that's exactly what unfolded. The chaos kicked off May 13th, when Blake's legal world collapsed publicly and humiliatingly. Filings dropped non-stop, PR stunts exploded like defective fireworks, and the fallout was nothing short of a disaster. You can't invent this stuff. Blake, once seen as a smart Hollywood player, somehow managed to spin a lawsuit into a full-on Netflix fiasco, minus the decent ratings. Even the New York Times, usually her PR sidekick, couldn't rescue her this time. They'd spent months pushing her smear agenda like gospel, only to end up exposed themselves. Turns out the only thing being smeared was Blake's credibility, which wasn't much to begin with. But the real kicker? The rumors leaking from her own legal circle. Her team allegedly began calling her a publicity-hungry narcissist. And if your own lawyers are mocking you behind closed doors, you've officially hit bottom. Imagine being so obsessed with headlines that your team compares representing you to starring in a cringy budget reality show. That's where Blake is now. But of course, she's not going down alone. Cue Ryan Reynolds, her supposed secret strategist. You'd think he'd know better than to get involved in this wreck, but here we are. Ryan's reportedly tangled in the mess, with whispers suggesting he may have misused investor cash, including Disney money, to finance Blake's courtroom antics. Yes, you heard right. While Mickey Mouse was busy entertaining families, Blake and Ryan were allegedly using corporate funds to create Deadpool-level courtroom chaos. Genius. And if you think that's the dumbest part, just wait. Enter the Vans lawsuit, or more accurately, the Vans scam. On September 27, 2024, Blake and Ryan's shady company, Vanson Incorporated, materializes and files a bizarre lawsuit in New York filled with unnamed defendants. Totally normal, right? Because when you're Blake Lively, rules are optional. But it gets better. Public records revealed Vanson Incorporated was Blake's personal sketch operation, where she held every key role, CEO, secretary, and CFO. And guess who else is tied to it? Yep, Ryan Reynolds. Real couple goals, running a shell company to push a revenge lawsuit. Then, just 4 days later on October 1st, Blake's team went after PR exec Stephanie Jones with a subpoena, demanding dirt on Wayfair and Justin Baldoni. Apparently, Blake can't let Baldoni breathe without dragging it into legal drama. It's like watching someone cyberstalk their ex, only with court orders instead of late-night texts. Embarrassing doesn't even begin to cover it.
Of course, there's an entirely new claim that comes out at some point during this litigation. And so the impacts of this dismissal are therefore going to be much more complete and obvious on the Wayfair side of things.
Naturally, the lawsuit vanished just as suddenly as it appeared. By December 19, 2024, the whole thing was dropped. Gone like smoke. But not before Blake and Ryan's legal stunt conveniently grabbed private text messages that magically supported her retaliation narrative. Funny how that works. They played legal hide-and-seek, snatched what they needed, then ghosted like nothing happened. But the press wasn't fooled. Reporters called it exactly what it was, legal abuse. Blake hijacked the justice system and used it as her own revenge playground, and the world noticed. The real kicker? The infamous text message trap, her supposed smoking gun to prove harassment, retaliation, and conspiracy. The issue? Those messages were snagged from that shady Vans and lawsuit, and how they got them was downright sketchy. Jennifer Ael, a former PR staffer, came forward alleging Blake's team essentially hijacked her phone. Stephanie Jones, the PR executive subpoenaed in this mess, allegedly helped comb through those private messages, shattering any sense of privacy. Imagine being so desperate to win a fight, you resort to phone hacking just to get screenshots. That's Blake Lively's strategy now. And of course, once they got those texts, Blake did what any attention-starved Hollywood diva would do. She stripped them of context, leaked them to the New York Times, and turned them into clickbait headlines. Suddenly, her flimsy lawsuit looked serious, but only because of doctored messages and PR trickery. Real attorneys weren't buying it. They picked the so-called evidence apart. No timeline, no motive, no proof. Wayfair retaliated against her complaints. Just carefully edited texts crafted to make Blake look like a victim. It was like filing a lawsuit based on your group chat and leaving out the parts that make you look unstable. A classic Blake move. And her own legal team? Fed up. They started realizing this whole circus was held together by duct tape, Twitter likes, and Blake's own inflated ego. Using shady subpoenas and edited texts isn't exactly how you win a case. But Blake doesn't care about facts. She cares about headlines. This lawsuit was built on buzzwords, wrapped in self-pity, and sold with Ryan Reynolds' broken strategy. And now? It's falling apart. Her attorney quit. Her PR wall is crumbling. And all that remains is a hollow legal meltdown spinning out of control. Blake's main argument, at least in her mind, is this retaliation claim under California law. Basically, she's saying she was punished for reporting misconduct. Sounds simple, right? Not for Blake. Legal experts have pointed out California defines employee so loosely, if you blink near a film set, you qualify. Still, even with that generous standard, Blake's claim is so flimsy, expired yogurt has more structure. Her whole theory rests on supposed harassment by Justin Baldoni, the guy she's been legally stalking for nearly a year now. But the timeline? Completely broken. She's yelling retaliation, yet claims it happened nearly a year after filming Wrapped. 1 year later, and now it's personal? Please. That's like stubbing your toe last summer and blaming your neighbor for mowing the lawn today. And of course, she's still waving around those same sketchy texts from the Vanson stunt like they're ironclad evidence. But they're not. The texts, as awkward as they are, don't show Wayfair targeted her. There's no timeline, no motive, just Blake's fantasy version of events wrapped in media spin. It's like trying to bake a cake with no flour, eggs, or recipe and expecting applause. And now with Baldoni's defamation claim dismissed and the deadline missed to refile, Blake's legal position is disintegrating. Baldoni isn't coming back to rescue this fiasco. The window closed, and Blake is left with no scapegoat, no support, and no backup. Her retaliation claim is gasping for breath, and even her legal team smells the desperation. And it only gets worse. Up next, the legendary sanctions, smokescreens, and subpoena circus, starring Blake Lively in full meltdown mode. Picture this, April 2024, Blake and Ryan dump over a dozen legal motions into the court, 2 of which are sanctions requests so bad legal analysts called them copy-paste trash. When professionals start comparing your motions to a teenager's essay, you know your legal game is in shambles. Behind the scenes, court insiders were whispering like it was high school. The filings were so weak, even first-year law students wouldn't touch them. Blake's entire legal tactic devolved into PR theater dressed up as legal argument. It was like submitting Instagram captions and hoping the judge liked your aesthetic. But Blake couldn't stop. Her obsession with shaping the narrative had gone from obsessive to outright disturbing. She pushed for gag orders, tried to bury discovery evidence like it was tabloid gossip, and even targeted Taylor Swift's phone records. Yes, Taylor, minding her own billionaire business, was pulled into this mess because Blake can't help but cause a scene. Meanwhile, her legal team was unraveling like a cheap sweater. Word around the courthouse was that they looked mentally fried, scrambling to keep up with the chaos, with some saying they'd aged a decade just trying to manage Blake's antics. Then came May 13th, the grand implosion. Brian Friedman's team, likely the last sane voices in the room, delivered a brutal letter calling Blake's sanctions push legally ridiculous, emotionally manipulative, and basically a PR stunt in legal costume. Imagine being so careless that the other side had to file an official letter explaining that your legal strategy reads like group therapy notes. And believe it or not, this is just scratching the surface of Blake Lively's disaster in progress. And then came the courtroom delusion to end them all. Blake decided to weaponize Deadpool and Disney. No, seriously. Her brilliant legal tactic. Sliding clips from Deadpool and Wolverine into court filings to claim Justin Baldoni acted with malice. That's right. Her main piece of legal evidence is essentially a Marvel meme. I've seen kids come up with stronger arguments just to stay up past bedtime. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds is neck-deep in allegations that he funneled Disney shareholder cash into Blake's personal legal tantrum. The SEC's reportedly circling, because shocker, raiding Mickey Mouse's wallet for a PR-fueled smear campaign doesn't sit well with corporate America. Who could have guessed? The filings have spiraled so far into parody, they're basically submitting SNL skits and tabloid headlines to court like it's a BuzzFeed quiz. Judges reading this circus probably wonder if they accidentally wandered into a reality TV writer's room. The courtrooms turned into a meme war, and Blake's legal documents now read like Instagram captions laced with boss babe slogans. Legal experts have shredded her filings, calling them delusions soaked in desperation, which might be the most accurate summary of her legal playbook to date. Now, judges are even warning that her tactics could be blocked on First Amendment grounds. When your case starts threatening constitutional rights, it's time to shut the laptop. But nope, Blake is still doubling down, dragging Deadpool into every press cycle, turning legal filings into punchlines while her attorneys visibly cringe in real time. If her goal was to trend for being legally unhinged, mission accomplished. Truth is, Blake's not just starring in this PR disaster. She's directing, producing, and headlining it like an off-Broadway meltdown with a blockbuster budget. But she's not alone in the mess. Enter Ryan Reynolds, Mr. Hollywood Charmer, who spent this entire debacle pretending he's just passing through while his fingerprints are all over every shady move. His public image, all charming smiles and self-deprecating humor, is cracking under the pressure. Legal letters, court leaks, and filings have outed him as the quiet architect behind Blake's vendetta. There are whispers that he exploited Wayfair, PR firms, and even his movie campaigns to fuel their petty crusade against Baldoni. And why not? When you've got Marvel millions, launching a defamation campaign is apparently just another line item on your film budget. Blake's own lawyers have hinted that Disney's money, yes, Mickey's funds, may have been rerouted to bankroll this train wreck. Imagine sitting in a shareholder meeting thinking your money's going to superheroes, only to find out it paid for Blake's courtroom tantrum. Turning Marvel profits into a personal revenge fund isn't just reckless, it's brain-dead brilliance. Then there's the infamous Deadpool pool scene. If your spouse was allegedly enduring emotional trauma, mocking the supposed abuser on the big screen wouldn't be your first move. But Ryan? He leaned into it, hard, like he was live-tweeting the trial in costume. 1 minute, Blake's filing tear-soaked court documents about psychological distress, and the next, Ryan's making snide movie jokes that play like subtweets in spandex. The contradiction is deafening. But Ryan plays the innocent partner role perfectly, hands clean, eyes wide, smirk on point, while fanning the fire from the background. This isn't just Blake's spiral anymore. It's a two-person takedown with Hollywood production value and the ego of a Marvel press tour. And Blake didn't stop at self-sabotage. She dragged innocent people into her legal dumpster fire. Jamie Heath, Melissa Nathan, and WME execs found their names plastered across court filings with zero concrete proof. Their crime? Being within 10 feet of Justin Baldoni. Blake's legal method is so lazy, it's like screaming "you're all guilty" into a crowded room and hoping someone flinches. No details, no substance, just reckless accusations smeared across legal documents like glitter glue on a conspiracy board. Careers are being jeopardized because Blake can't control her narrative obsession. Even the judges are fed up. They've swatted down her sanctions requests so often it's become routine. But Blake keeps pushing, turning typos into courtroom crises just to fuel more headlines. Her team wants every minor clerical slip treated like federal sabotage, while ignoring their own constitutional violations. When a judge warns your antics might trample First Amendment protections, it's time to stop, but not for Blake. Her ego's too busy burning every bridge, including the one with her legal team. Behind the scenes, even her own attorneys are whispering the word narcissist. And when your legal counsel starts treating you like a psych textbook, that's not strategy, that's collapse. Michael Gotel, once her strongest ally, watched his own colleagues call his filings redundant and emotionally unstable. His own firm didn't want to touch it. But rather than pause, Blake cranked the chaos even higher, pulling in PR manager Leslie Sloan to review filings before the lawyers could. Court strategies based on tabloid instincts and Pinterest empowerment boards, because nothing says due process like Googling how to win like a girl boss in litigation. And yes, she really subpoenaed Taylor Swift. Dragging America's sweetheart into your meltdown is a bold move, and a stupid one. It wasn't just unethical, it was laughable. That one stunt proved what everyone suspected. Blake's case isn't about justice. It's about manipulation, weaponized media, and headline baiting disguised as law. By May 2024, her legal team had had enough. They didn't resign. They escaped. Dignity intact, they abandoned Blake like the courtroom was on fire. And with them gone, Blake spiraled harder. Now playing the role of attorney, publicist, and lead actress in a trial no one believes in. She's terrible at all three. Which brings us to the endgame. Blake's legal circus has officially hit rock bottom. This lawsuit didn't just misuse the justice system, it mocked it. Courtrooms were transformed into theaters, judges into unwilling spectators. Revenge, not justice, was the script. And now? Even her closest allies have walked. The judges see through it. The PR tricks, the Deadpool gags, the Disney-funded drama, it's all unraveling like a cheap plot twist. Ryan's image, once pristine, is smeared with shareholder chaos. Blake's credibility is shredded beneath a pile of Instagram captions pretending to be legal briefs. Her once formidable legal machine has collapsed under the weight of narcissism, fantasy, and a complete lack of strategy. Now Blake stands alone. No attorneys, no real claims, no actual defense. Just memes, media spin, and a full-blown public breakdown. She's facing the one role she never prepared for, losing. And no amount of Taylor Swift name drops, glossy PR, or Hollywood dramatics can rescue her now. Blake's legal saga just collapsed in flames. Subscribe, because the next celebrity meltdown is probably already loading.